recent days. Of course, as you know, during this visit, he also traveled to Slovakia. My colleague has already briefed the media on that, so I will focus on the visit here in France. And as I had said earlier as well, this is a visit that took place in 3 phases. It began in Nice on the 14th of June. It then continued in Evian on the 16th and 17th of June for the G7 and G7 outreach meetings. And it is concluding here today in Paris. If I were to characterize the themes of this visit, I would say that it revolves around the 3 interconnected themes of trade, technology, and regional and international security. On the technology front, to begin with that, I would say the technology aspect essentially bookends this visit. It began in Nice with a major technology event. It ends in Paris today with the Prime Minister attending another major technology event. In Nice, Prime Minister and President Macron today together launched Bharat Innovates. I've had the opportunity to speak about it in some detail in Nice itself on the 14th, launching a flagship initiative to project the skill and the abilities of deep tech Indian startups on the global stage and connecting them to their peers, other global inventors and innovators, as well as global capital and venture funds. It's been a very successful beginning. As you are aware, more than 120 Indian deep tech startups took part in that event. And there is a sense that this is something that can easily go to other parts of the world, and we are already working on this idea of taking Bharat Innovates to other major technology events around the world. And we made a beginning right here in VivaTech, and there was a Bharat Innovates pavilion as part of the Indian pavilion at VivaTech as well. In Paris today, as I said, the Prime Minister participated in the VivaTech event. India was the AI country of focus at this year's edition of VivaTech. And the AI country partner at VivaTech this year. And Prime Minister once again emphasized and underlined not just the kind of innovation that was underway in the technology sphere in India, but also what it meant to deploy technology at scale in such a large country. And in this context, the vision that India was putting before the world, at least insofar as artificial intelligence is concerned, which is a transformational technology and which must be technology that is at the service of humanity rather than humanity being somehow becoming subservient to technology. So that was the tech aspect of the visit. The trade aspect of this could be seen at Evian, as a matter of fact, in the multiple bilateral meetings that the Prime Minister had. And if I can cite just 4 of those meetings and the progress that was registered as well as reinforced at each one of these meetings with the UK, as you are aware, both the Prime Minister and the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom announced the date for the entry into force of the India-UK Comprehensive Economic and Trade Agreement, which was signed last year in the presence of the 2 Prime Ministers in the UK, and will enter into force from the 15th of July 2026. So major development insofar as bilateral relations with a major trading partner are concerned. With Canada, Prime Minister, as you're aware, held a bilateral meeting with the Prime Minister of Canada, and the two leaders gave instructions to their teams to conclude the negotiations on a comprehensive economic partnership agreement by the end of the year. You're aware that our Commerce Minister had recently visited Canada, and discussions have already started on this. The two Prime Ministers have registered and a desire to put these negotiations on the fast track and see if we can get a CEPA completed by the end of the year. With the European Union, the Prime Minister met jointly with both with the European Commission President, Mrs. Ursula von der Leyen, and the European Council President, Mr. Antonio Costa, and they recalled the fact that discussions on an India-EU FTA, the negotiations, the announcement of the conclusion of negotiations happened earlier this year when the two leaders were visiting New Delhi, and the understanding that by the end of the year, before the end of the year, the agreement will be signed. And this is something that came up in their meeting in Evian on the sidelines of the G7 meetings, and they once again reaffirmed their desire and instructed the respective teams to do whatever was necessary to make this signing happen before the end of the year. So that's the third major trade-related development. And last one, I would say, and by no means least, is with the United States, where we have made significant progress already on the conclusion of an interim free trade bilateral trade agreement, and we are in the final stages of concluding that agreement. Next week, in fact, the United States Trade Representative, Mr. Jamieson Greer, will be visiting India to take forward these discussions. And in the bilateral meeting between Prime Minister and President Donald Trump yesterday in Evian, this was a major subject of discussion. Both leaders once again gave instructions for this agreement to be concluded at the earliest possible. So you can see the trade aspect as a major focus of this visit, and it carried on in a sense today in Paris. To just bring you up to date with Prime Minister's engagements here, he began the day by meeting 4 leading French CEOs. These included Mr. Arthur Mensch, the co-founder and chief executive officer of Mistral AI, Mr. Benoit Bazin, chairman and CEO of Saint-Gobain, Mr. Martin Sion, chief executive officer of Alstom, and Rodolphe Sade, the chairman and CEO of the CMA-CGM group. The French leaders, corporate leaders, all of whom have significant association with India already, expressed their strong confidence in India's rapidly growing economy, and expressed their readiness to expand their local footprints and deepen their presence and their partnership with India. That's the first two themes, technology and trade. Let me come to the final one, which is regional and global security related issues. These essentially came up in several bilateral meetings at Evian on the sidelines of G7. These were obviously also a significant subject of discussion at the meetings themselves that the G7 and G7 outreach leaders had in Evian. And of course, the focus was on the situation in West Asia. You're all aware of the developments related to that subject. And in his meetings with his counterparts and also in his interventions at the G7. Prime Minister expressed once again India's desire to see sustained peace and security in this region. India welcomed the developments that have taken place through the understanding that has been reached between the United States and Iran, and hopes to see a rapid return to peace and stability in this region. We have always emphasized the importance of maintaining the freedom of navigation and unimpeded commerce through the international waterways in the region. Prime Minister specifically emphasized the issue of the safety and security of seafarers. He noted how hundreds of thousands of Indian seafarers essentially provide a global public good by serving on maritime platforms that serve the global community and serve global maritime trade in a big way, and why therefore their safety and security should be a common concern of the global community. And this is something that he voiced not just in his intervention at the G7 summit outreach meetings, but also in his bilateral meetings with several leaders. Just a quick word before I close about the G7 meetings themselves. This was, I think, Prime Minister's 7th appearance at these G7 meetings. And here, of course, for the outreach countries, the emphasis was in the different sessions on new partnerships and international solidarity on a global scale, issues related to macroeconomic imbalances. India took part in discussions on all the priorities that were outlined by the French presidency of the G7, and in fact, we endorsed, if I recall correctly, at least 3 of the documents coming out of this G7 summit, and these related to G7 documents on outcomes on cancer research, on the response to the Ebola outbreak in Africa, and on the need to ensure safe digital spaces for minors. So these are at least 3 of the outcome documents from the G7 summit that India endorsed, and these, as I said, were important priorities of the French G7 presidency. As I said, there was a session that was dedicated to artificial intelligence as well at the G7 summit, and the Prime Minister spoke in that session outlining how India figured as a provider of solutions at scale in this context, and as I mentioned earlier as well, how India stood for a human-centric and inclusive approach to global growth. He also referred in his other interventions to the idea of the creation of an international mobilization partnership for accelerating connectivity and trade impact, and the responsibility of international financial institutions to help countries, especially those in the global south, to build their economic resilience, especially at a time of unprecedented global disruption. So all in all, I would say this has been an extremely productive and fruitful visit, and there have been several substantial outcomes, and we've seen a number of our important objectives being reinforced through the discussions throughout this particular visit. So let me stop there. We have some time for questions. I'd be happy to try and answer some. Thank you.
Okay, the floor is open. We can start with Lomas.
Hello, sir. I'm Lomas from INS News Agency. My question is, sir, President Trump praised Prime Minister Modi leadership and tough negotiating skill. Does this show that India has finally arrived on the global stage in the last 12 years?
Brahm, please.
फॉरेन सेक्रेटरी, मैं ब्रह्म प्रकाश दुबे हूँ जी न्यूज़ से। मेरा सवाल यूएस को लेकर ही है कि प्रधानमंत्री की 16 महीने बाद द्विपक्षीय बातचीत हुई है अमेरिकी राष्ट्रपति से। तो बीते 16 महीने में जो भारत के अमेरिका के तनाव भरे रिश्ते रहे हैं, जिस तरह से टैरिफ लगाया गया, जिस तरह से ट्रंप बयान देते रहे हैं भारत को लेकर, भारतीय प्रधानमंत्री को लेकर, अब इस मुलाकात के बाद क्या माना जाए, क्या दोनों देशों के रिश्ते फिर से उसी तरह से सामान्य हो गए हैं या चीज़ें धीरे धीरे सामान्य होंगी? और दूसरा सवाल फ्रांस को लेकर है, फ्रांस के राष्ट्रपति के साथ जो बैठकें भी हुई हैं, तो क्या डिफेंस को लेकर क्या कुछ और जानकारी दे सकते हैं, जो पर्टिकुलर एरिया में कोई डील को लेकर चीज़ें आगे बढ़ी हों, खासतौर से सिक्योरिटी इक्विपमेंट्स को लेकर, अगर आप जानकारी दे पाएं? थैंक यू।
मेगा।
Good afternoon, sir. I'm Megha from NewsX. About the readout that has been issued with the bilateral that has taken place between Prime Minister Modi and President Trump, there have been certain things that seem to have been omitted, particularly with regards to cross-border terrorism, Pakistan, especially since this was a meeting that the two leaders held after Operation Sindoor for the first time, talking about the focus on Quad, on Indo-Pacific and their security pact. Could you just shed light on that?
Mm-hmm. So we can take more to this. Okay, Aditi.
Hi, sir. Aditi from Press Trust of India. So my first question related to the India-UK FTA. How do you see that impacting the bilateral ties overall? And on the point, sir, you made about the safety and security of seafarers, which you said the Prime Minister raised during various bilateral discussions, was the issue of the Indian captain who's under arrest at the moment in the UK, was that something that came up as well? I mean, it's part of the shadow fleet, so I just wondered. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Gautam.
This is Gautam Roy from DD India. The deal that is taking place for peace in West Asia, that's primarily between the Americans and the Iranians. Israel is not part of it, and it has said that it will not withdraw its forces for the time being from Lebanon as well. So are the leaders who were there at G7, were they concerned about this particular aspect, and could an effort be mounted, because India is also a friendly nation with both Israel and Iran, to get them on one page as well to ensure that this peace and this ceasefire sustains?
Thank you. Sir?
I think the first question here, Lomas, especially your contention that following the meeting yesterday, whether India has arrived on the global stage in the last 12 years. You know, when I last checked, India has been on the global stage for the last 7,000 years. So I'm not sure what exactly a particular meeting will or will not do about that presence, but let me assure you we are very, very much present on the global stage for a very, very long period of time. ब्रह्म प्रकाश, आपका जो प्रश्न था कल की मीटिंग के बारे में, देखिए ये सच है कि प्रधानमंत्री जी और राष्ट्रपति ट्रंप के बीच पिछले 16 महीने में कोई बैठक नहीं हुई थी, लेकिन ये मेरे विचार में कोई आश्चर्यजनक बात नहीं है, क्योंकि प्रधानमंत्री जी यात्रा पे गए थे पिछले फरवरी अमेरिका की, और ये पिछली मुलाकात तब हुई थी। उसके बाद से प्रधानमंत्री जी की अमेरिका की यात्रा नहीं हुई है, राष्ट्रपति ट्रंप अभी भारत नहीं आ पाए हैं, और जो दूसरे जो मल्टीलैटरल इवेंट्स होते हैं वहाँ पे जो कभी कभी इस तरह से मुलाकात करने का मौका मिलता है, तो बीच में कोई ऐसा मौका नहीं आया था जहाँ पे दोनों लीडर्स एक साथ थे, नहीं तो ये मुलाकात पहले भी हो सकती थी। अब G7 में मौका मिला तो दोनों लीडर्स ने एक तरह से मिलने का फैसला किया और बातचीत आगे बढ़ी। और जो आपने क्या रिश्ते सामान्य हो गए हैं, मैं ये नहीं मानता कि रिश्तों में उतार चढ़ाव होता रहता है। एक तरह से जो डेवलपमेंट्स हैं वो आते रहते हैं, और दोनों देशों के जो लीडर्स होते हैं और राजनयिक होते हैं उनसे डील करते रहते हैं उन उतार चढ़ावों से। तो ऐसी कोई मैं कहूँगा हैरानी की बात नहीं है इसमें। कल आपने मीटिंग देखी और उसके बारे में जो रीड आउट और प्रेस रिलीजेस थे वो भी आपने देख लिए होंगे। एक बहुत ही अच्छे माहौल में मीटिंग हुई दोनों लीडर्स के बीच में, और जो भी महत्वपूर्ण विषय दोनों लीडर्स के मन में थे वो उन्होंने एक दूसरे से साझा किए। और जैसा मैंने आपसे कहा, मीटिंग में दोनों लीडर्स ने जो इस समय एक बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण विषय है दोनों देशों के बीच में, एक बायलैटरल ट्रेड एग्रीमेंट को लेके, उसके ऊपर दोनों लीडर्स ने ये इंस्ट्रक्शंस दिए कि इस एग्रीमेंट को जल्द से जल्द हमें आगे ले जाना चाहिए। और इसके चलते अगले हफ्ते जो यूएस ट्रेड रिप्रेजेंटेटिव हैं एम्बेसडर जेमिसन ग्रेयर, वो भारत की यात्रा पे आ रहे हैं, कॉमर्स मिनिस्टर से मिलेंगे और इस बातचीत को आगे ले जाएंगे। जहां तक आपका सवाल फ्रांस को लेके रक्षा क्षेत्र में रक्षा सामग्री वगैरह के खरीद फरोख्त के बारे में है, शायद ये सवाल पहले भी नीस में पूछा गया था जब द्विपक्षीय बैठक हुई थी राष्ट्रपति मैक्रों और प्रधानमंत्री जी के बीच में। तो जैसा मैंने उस समय भी कहा था, जो ऐसे जो इश्यूज इस समय हैं, जो प्रश्न इस समय हैं, इन पे विचार चल रहा है। ये बातचीत अभी पूरी हुई नहीं है, और जब भी इस पे कोई ऐलान करने लायक कोई चीज होगी तो इसके बारे में सूचना दी जाएगी। Megha, on your question related to issues in the discussions between the Prime Minister and the President, I think you need to take into account the fact that this was a brief meeting on the sidelines of a major multilateral event. The structure of these meetings is not such where every single issue is necessarily going to come up or is going to be discussed in detail. Our concerns on all of the issues and our views on all of the issues that you mentioned are well known, and they are equally well known to our American partners as well. There were some important issues and urgent issues that needed to be discussed yesterday, notably, as I said, about the trade agreement, which is something that has created a certain amount of uncertainty over the past year or so between the two countries, and it was important that we move forward to some kind of certainty on these issues, and therefore that is what occupied some amount of time. To Aditi's question on the India-UK FTA, but now that a date for entry into force has been announced, I am sure that businesses on both sides have been gearing up for some time to get into this. The UK is one of our largest trading partners, an important technology partner. And this agreement is about more than just trade and technology as well. It speaks to mobility between the two countries as well. And I think these open very important doors for people in both countries. And businesses in both countries have actually been quite eager to have the agreement enter into force at an early date so that they can roll out the plans that they have been making for some point of time. Insofar as the issue of the interdiction of a vessel by UK authorities is concerned, we are aware of these developments. Our mission in the United Kingdom is in touch with the concerned UK authorities and will follow up with them on the next steps that need to be taken to address this situation. Finally, Gautam, with regard to the deal in West Asia, look, the points that you made about the stance of Israel and the issues that relate to other parties other than just the United States and Iran, these are important issues. They did figure in the conversations in the around the larger G7 table, as well as in the bilateral conversations between various leaders. And it is natural to have concerns about something that has been concluded, but we don't yet know as to how exactly things will unfold on the ground. As I said, we all expect that it will lead to sustained peace and stability in the region. India has always advocated the path of dialogue and diplomacy to settle conflicts such as these, and we have always also expressed our readiness to contribute in any manner that we can. We have very strong relationships with all of the countries in the region. Most of the protagonists who are involved in one way or the other, or who have been affected by the conflict, have been in very close touch with them throughout this conflict. We've also participated in a number of meetings and forums that have been convened to address different aspects of this conflict and the situation that might arise once the conflict is over. We remain in very close touch with all of those partners, and we will be ready to do whatever it is possible for us to do insofar as addressing the next steps is concerned.
We have a question there, please.
Thanks, Foreign Secretary. This is Nicholas Roca from Radio France International. Just to follow up on what my colleague asked about the situation around Iran. As he mentioned, Israel doesn't seem to be willing to be a part of the deal. India is one of the major defense partner of the country. Has there been any consideration to try to push this close ally to maybe make more significant steps towards peace? And my second question comes on IMEC. It's a project that has been mentioned by Prime Minister Modi and President Macron already when Prime Minister Modi came in Marseille a while ago, 3 years ago, I believe. And as Prime Minister Modi met Mr. Saadeh from CMA-CGM, I was wondering if there were any updates or significant evolution on that topic.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I think we don't have any more questions.
Okay, all right. Well, look, we have a good relationship with Israel, and as I said, throughout this conflict, we have been in touch with various parties. We've been in very close contact with Iran as well, with the Iranian authorities. The Prime Minister has spoken to the Iranian President on at least 2 occasions during the time that this conflict was on. The Foreign Minister, our External Affairs Minister, has been in touch with his Iranian counterpart on several occasions during the time the conflict was on. And as you know, we have always also been in touch with our Israeli counterparts. Having said that, we are not a party to the conflict, and we would leave it to the parties to the conflict to decide how to arrive at arrangements to terminate the conflict, to end the conflict, and to find a roadmap after that for a path forward. Now that we are at the beginning of such a path, if there are ways in which we can contribute through our engagement, whether it is with Iran or with Israel, we would be ready to do that, and those conversations are ongoing. I cannot preview or prejudge those at this point in time. Insofar as IMEC is concerned, you're right, Prime Minister had visited the port of Marseille. It was in February last year when he was here in 2025. And the discussions today were more with regard to the business interests of the company. But IMEC is a project and an initiative in which I would imagine not just CMA-CGM, but also other French companies and French entities would be interested in. It is something that, in a sense, I would say that even in the context of the conflict that has just taken place, it is something that assumes a lot of importance, and it's important that all of the partners, both India and France, are original signatories of the MOU that led to the creation of IMEC, and we have stayed in close touch with our French counterparts on this. France has a special envoy, Mr. Gérard Mestraieff, for IMEC, and I have met him in the past. My other colleagues have been in touch with him, and we remain in close touch to see how to take our discussions forward and develop a consensus on the rollout of IMEC on the ground in the coming years. Thank you. Look, the India-France relationship, I would characterize it as one of our strongest bilateral relationships on the global scale. It is a relationship that is present in some of the most important areas of our national endeavor. If I, off the top of my mind, if I recall just three areas: the defense area, the nuclear area, and the space area. These are all areas in which there is a history of very close and fruitful collaboration between the two countries, and are also areas where there is active collaboration and discussions ongoing as we speak. Beyond that, I think there is a lot of alignment in I won't say every single view, but a lot of our views on the global scale. Certainly in multilateral organizations and on a lot of regional issues, India and France have very, very similar approaches. And finally, I would say France is a resident power in the Indo-Pacific, and that creates another very rich vein of possibilities for India and France to cooperate with each other. And I think you see that vibrancy reflected on a daily basis in our relationship between the two countries. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we come to the close of this press briefing. Thank you.